I'm in a location called Cave Stream in the Arthur's Pass to Waiponamu. And Cave Stream is got a huge dragon line, female dragon line running through it. It's Freddie Silver, the researcher Freddie Silver, discovered and measured this huge dragon line that passes through this region, probably passes through this area behind me here, this escarpment next to the stream here. I think it passes through all the way through this really long running ley line that goes through here, misses Uluru in Australia, goes through Borobudur, goes through Asia, India, all the way up through Eastern Europe, into Europe, straight through the UK, Wessex area. It's incredible, this energy that you feel when you're here. It's quite astonishing. For me, being quite sensitive anyway. But one thing I'm looking at right now, you can see that above me there, geoengineering. Geoengineering. So what they are doing, in my perception, with the geoengineering over places with ley lines like this, is that what the Belial group, if you follow the work of Edgar Cayce on Atlantis, you know that the Belial group, the mystery schools that move through him, the Belial group use technology, e.g. the two-eye crystal, to attune it in a way to try and stop the natural cycles, in my perception anyway, not necessarily Edgar Cayce's perception, but to attune it in a way that would affect the natural cycles of a cosmological movement. I'm going to this cave over here, this massive cave. This cosmological movement, and by doing so, interrupting the cycle. But in that age, the end of the Atlantean epoch, we're going into a descending Dwarpara cycle, from the Bronze Age into the end of Atlantis anyway, into a Kali Yuga cycle. And that, in my perception, the use of technology to assist the destruction of Atlantis, but also to break up any remnants that could affect the depth of that Kali Yuga cycle and the levels of control that were brought about by the PARASITE class, the priest class, that worked with the Belial group. And that chemtrails, those geoengineering lines in the sky, whatever they are doing out there, feels like to me it's a form of technological means to attempt to stop the natural cycle, that being the ascending Dwarpara cycle, doing their best to stop that energy. It's futile to me. It's absolutely futile. You cannot fuck with nature and think it's going to be okay. And that also gives me a little bit of a concern, because if you are fucking with nature, whether it's through the CERN Hadron Collider, whether it's the use of geoengineering, any technological means to fuck with the natural cycles. Well, we know what happened to Atlantis, don't we, in PARASITE. We follow Edgar Cayce's work. We know that PARASITE sank. And I kind of had the feeling, I wrote about this in my book Entwined back in 2010, and I was given a download, that the Belial group harnessed some comets, asteroids, and smacked them into the Cordilleran and the Laurentian ice sheets in the North American continent, causing an enormous flood that went through what was then an inland sea in the Gulf of Mexico, took out the barrier between the inland sea and the Caribbean basin, where PARASITE was, and then washed away what was left of Atlantis. That was done for a technological means. So what does it mean for us, moving into an ascending Dwarpara cycle? Is there a force at work that wants to stop the natural cycle from taking place? The ascending Dwarpara cycle into a Bronze Age out of a Kali Yuga cycle. Is there a force at work that wants to do that? Geoengineer, whether they're bouncing off EF waves, off the surface, where there's heavy metal particulates in those sprays, over a massive dragon line, a female dragon line that Freddie Silver identified. My questions, I have no idea. I'm only questioning that. Because this is a very sacred place to the Waitaha people who came to this island, Te Waipounamu, many thousands of years ago, and the beings that came here. They measured out and knew where this ley line, this particular energy line was. They came here. I'm going to go to Kura Tawhiti, which is the other side of this ley line. This is cave stream side. Other side's Kura Tawhiti today as well. I'm going to do a video there, part 2 of this video over there. Very, very special place to me, Kura Tawhiti. But I have to wonder, seeing that now and kind of having this feeling as if there is maybe a technological effort to stop the Dwarpara cycle from ascending and drag the culture, the global culture, back into a Kali Yuga cycle where the parasite class has more control over our planet, over spirit incarnate, over people, over avatars, over nature. How ridiculous is that? You've got no control over nature, even if you think you do. No, not at all. So behind me is Kura Tawhiti. We're at the top of Kura Tawhiti, Castle Hill. And behind me over here, it's quite windy, so I've got to keep my voice quite loud. I have to move because the camera's going to have wind going through it. So behind me back there is where I did my ritual in 2017. In 2017 I did my ritual. The first time I got here, I tried to get here for so long, and then I got here in 2017 for the autumn equinox. And there was no one to speak of when I got here. It was raining in Christchurch, and I came to the beginning of the Arthur's Pass, and it was like 27 degrees, blue sky. And here I am now in 2024. I think it's the 15th of 16th, maybe the 17th of January. And I've come up here again before I go to Spirit Fest South Island. And back up there on the hill, facing towards Castle Hill Village, I did rituals where I intended what I wanted to experience that year in 2017. And there was no wind, and then this wind would come up from Castle Hill Village towards me and swirl around me and then be gone with every intention, and it was still again. It's a mystical experience. This is a mystical place. It really is magical up here. One of my favourite places in the entire world. There's a gigantic, as Freddie Silver said, there's a gigantic ley line, dragon line going through this land. And it goes through, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but behind me over here, it goes through the escarpment over here. Between the escarpment and this big rock over here, in that region in there, this ley line, this huge female dragon line passes through. And the energy here is palatable. It's very special. Up here especially, because no one really comes up here. They all kind of tend to gravitate down towards the lower Castle Hill area. But up here is where the magic is, and where the elementals and the spirits are. And for me, it's the most magical place for activations, inspiration that I've ever been to in this country, on this island, Te Waipounamu. Thanks for watching, I truly appreciate it. I better go here, it's quite windy, so I better go. See you soon. Aotearoa. I'll see you soon.